David, I've been wearing my Colby Plus down here at Chicama. It's a 3-2, and it's one of the white label ones, and it is smooth and warm. It's got that inner sort of like, what would you call that inner layer?
Fleece.
The fleece. It's very comfortable. Of course, very warm. Fits perfectly. And really a 3-2 is all you need down here.
I'm happy in the 3-2 with no booties down here. I think I'm going to leave mine behind.
Oh, that's very generous of you.
These guys, the boat drivers, their wetsuits, they need a wetsuit for their line of work, and they're in them all day long.
Yeah.
And they're kind of tattered.
Yeah.
Boom.
What a good call.
It's a lot easier for us to get them at home than it is to get them down here. So I think that's the move.
You know what? Maybe I'll do that as well.
I brought a 4-3, a 3-2 like Yamamoto, and then the 3-2 white label. Thinking leaving them all.
Yeah.
The only problem is I was using them to pad my boards in the board bag.
Oh.
But I'll figure out a different pattern.
Yeah, you got towels.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw some clothes in there.
Exactly. Borrow a pillow off the bed.
Colby Plus, you'll be able to see them at the Boardroom Show here coming up October 11th and 12th as well. Swing by. I'm sure Rob and his crew will have boardroom deals.
Yeah.
You can get lots of boardroom deals through the virtual swag bag. Colby Plus will have one.
Amazing. ColbyPlus.com. And then, of course, Real Water Sports. So much of our success on this trip was thanks to Real Water Sports video on Chicama. So thank you, Real Water Sports, the best video reviews and YouTube page in the biz.
And Tripp just sent me a text or an email letting me know that they got a whole new shipment of Ryan Sakel surfboards. The Sabre, they've got the Sabre in, which is, by the way, there's a Sabre down here. One of the guys is riding a Sabre. Of course, the Sabre is my go-to winter board in Southern California. So there's a whole line, not just the Sabres, but other Ryan Sakel.
The Twinser, too.
Yeah. The Twinser, which is, there's also a Ryan Sakel Twinser down here.
I think he calls it the Howler.
The Howler, exactly.
Twinser.
So check those out at Real Water Sports. If you want a super fast, really well-designed, and a board that surfs really well, by a shaper who's a second-generation shaper who also surfs really well, Ryan Sakel, he's in my stable of guys who build boards for me, and he's a local guy in Encinitas, and I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, awesome. RealWatersports.com.
As we see some movement at the takeoff zone.
Yeah, guy, David. Welcome to the Spit. It is the Spit podcast. We're here in Chicama. David Lee Scales, Scott Bass. It's September 2nd. It's a Tuesday, the day after Labor Day in North America or the USA. And boy, we've been surfing our brains out down here at Chicama. Good morning, David.
Live, too, in person, I should say. We normally do these via Zoom. Here we are in a room together.
How long
Almost feels awkward.
How long has it been since we did?
Years.
Maybe in El Salvador.
Other than that, it was pre-COVID, or it was COVID. It was 2020, I would say, was the last time. So let's call it 5 years.
Yeah, we went from the front seat of my truck to Chicama, Peru. That's amazing, isn't it?
No, it feels good, though. We're here at the Chicama Boutique Hotel, and beautiful accommodation. Couldn't be happier, actually. The most modern, nice resort in all of northern Peru is what I've heard.
Yeah, I would absolutely come back down here again, and I've got some friends that are goofyfoots. This is a bucket list location if you're a goofyfoot. Numerous guys on this trip have told me, looked me in the eye and said, Scott, I've got the longest wave I've ever got in my life down here, and it happened 25 minutes ago.
I've heard that, and also the best wave I've gotten in my life, too.
Incredible.
Multiple people. It's almost, the wave is machine-like, and it reminded me, I hate to even make the analogy, but of Kelly Slater's Surf Ranch, where just continually it's the same look down the line, endlessly. You're just like, oh my God, it's incredible. So
yeah, no, absolutely. It's mesmerizing. You find yourself sipping a cup of coffee or a cup of tea in the afternoon and just watching these things reel down the sand bottom point for at least 2 miles. I don't know how far this wave is, but from the top of the point.
Yeah, it's the first time on a trip that I remember where you're watching basically perfect waves all day without going out and surfing.
Yeah, you're surfed out.
You can't surf all day.
You're surfed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's pretty, like I say, I think mesmerizing is the right phrase. There might be a better one, but
Well, because you can't look away.
yeah, you can't.
You're just all day staring at it, but then you're like, why am I not out there? I have no interest to go out right now.
And then we spent all night watching the video of all day surfing, all the guys surfing, which, let's be frank, there's some guys that surf really good, but the majority of us are just, 40-somethings trying to get it going. And but still, we can't look away. We watch the video.
No, the videos that we're watching are mainly drone videos. So there's a couple of entrepreneurial locals who invested in drones, and they go and they park the car up on the cliff overlooking the wave and operate the drones from the cliff that high up and far away, which is really weird. You're sitting in the water and you look back and it looks like one of the old movies where the Indians are surrounding the cowboys up on the cliff, And so it's ominous that way, except it's just a drone operator, but they're really pro.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun both in the day and in the evening watching the footage. So I can't say enough good things about how great it's been down here. And this hotel, the boutique hotel at Chicama, is unreal. I mean, I've been taking steam saunas, dry saunas, of course, the hot tubs. There's 2 hot tubs. Every day there's yoga sessions. They really know how to take care of you.
And the masseuses are super good.
Got one today at 3.
Yeah, I got one today at 4.
Hello.
So it's, I've had a lot of mediocre massages in my life, It's like, and then a handful of good ones. The girl here is excellent.
Yeah.
It was very, very good.
Yeah, she does some WWE moves.
She does.
Well, David, I've got some stuff. Of course, we're mainly going to be talking about the WSL Final 5, which occurred yesterday at Cloudbreak. But I also have a Who Said That? And
Sweet.
I don't know where you want to start.
Let's start with yesterday. Instead of watching our surf footage, everybody gathered around in the restaurant. We put the WSL Finals Day on the big screen and had a little bit of a viewing party, and that was fun. It was like
incredible.
In the highlight moments, Jordy needing a score, everybody's like cheering for him to make it through the barrel, It was super fun doing a viewing party.
It was, of course, the day started off sort of lackluster here, and some people in our group questioning why they started the event. And, it's hard to be an armchair quarterback and I guess I should say it's easy to be an armchair quarterback and to second guess Renato's decision to run. What were your thoughts on the decision to run as you look, back on it in hindsight?
I'd be curious to know what it looks like today.
I think that's the big question.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, we're well aware of the constraints of operating in a certain time frame and just having that swell available or not. And the constraint that they were working with was swell is rising, but wind is going to be a problem throughout later in the day. So if we don't run in the morning, we're going to have to contend with the wind in the afternoon. And that's ultimately exactly how it played out. It was small waves in the morning, but clean. And then in the end, when it was the actual final matchups, it was bigger, but windy. So we saw very few barrels basically at Cloudbreak. We saw 2, I think, completed barrels throughout the course of the day. So they could have ran in bigger sloppy surf in the evening, I suppose, and not run in the small stuff in the morning. Or who knows what today looks like.
Yeah, I mean, knowing what they knew about what the conditions were like the day they ran yesterday and what it's going to be like today, you're assuming that today's probably was expected or forecasted to not be as good.
Yeah.
That can be the only reason why they turned it on yesterday.
So all that being said, the end result is still a disappointment for the viewer. Like, leading up to this, everything comes to a pinnacle on that day. So we have the whole year of anticipation leading up to it. But even the last week or two, the anticipation of this swell, I don't think the swell was overhyped. They didn't say it was going to be massive, perfect Cloudbreak. They said the exact opposite, actually. So they didn't overhype the swell, but there is just an inherent anticipation because of the importance of the day. So it is just a bummer to see the finals day run in mediocre surf. That's just a reality.
Yeah, it is. And, I think internally myself, speaking for myself, I was geared up for something. I had expectations, and they weren't really met as far as the swell and stuff. But
I'll tell you, I'm glad to be done with the finals day format, and I felt that from the start of the day all the way through the end, because it is too much pressure to put on one day that you don't know that you're going to get great surf on, and it seems kind of unfair. I actually felt sympathetic towards the surfers whose world title opportunities are on the line, and they simply don't get 2 opportunities. They don't get 2 scoring waves in their heat, especially in those early round heats. So I just feel like it's just kind of not a service to the surfers nor the surf community to do the finals day format. The other thing that I thought was interesting, especially in the early heats, was they were surfing more safely than other events. And it was almost like Betty Lou Scurr-Johnson versus Caroline Marks. Let's just survive this heat. If we can just get through this heat, we'll be safe, rather than going for some world-class performance right out of the gates and falling and then losing because you fell. It felt like they were actually surfing safe because they were nervous to lose,
Well, I would agree with that. I would say that it was fairly clear to me that Caroline Marks was a veteran and was way more comfortable. Her top turns just looked smooth, and she looked more relaxed. Betty Lou definitely looked like she was safety surfing, and you just can't do that, especially out there. And to me, it was, I think to the entire surfing community, it was very clear who won the first heat.
Yeah, totally clear. But my point is, even Caroline didn't put in her best performance of the year. I'm saying this is your world title opportunity, and you go out and you watch what Italo did. He just goes as fast as he can and launches as high as he can. And it's like, yeah, world title is on the line. Put in a world title performance that makes you look different than the rest of the year. This should be your best performance of the year. And I felt like certainly in that girl's first heat, it was like, you guys are just trying to survive, And so I want to almost blame the finals day format, because there is an element of, if we do just get 6s, we can get through this, But
I think that's a really valid criticism or way to look at it, for sure. The format, because there wasn't massive swell, the format sort of stood out as a sore thumb, so to speak. For sure, the Jack Robinson heat versus Italo, Jack Robinson fell victim to a lack of swell, where Italo was just doing Italo things, surfing underneath priority, going full speed, full stop all the time, surfing radically, obviously deserved to win. He looked like he just kind of freaked Jack Robinson out. It was almost like he was like a floater, those floaters you get in your vision sometimes, that no matter how many times you blink, you can't get rid of them. Italo was that floater in Jack's vision, and he was just going bang, 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 all over, underneath priority, ripping, shredding. And Jack started out sort of, I wouldn't say strong, but like, okay, Jack's surfing, and it just got kind of worse and worse and worse as the heat went on, and a victim of lack of swell.
How do you feel about, when we're anticipating a swell and it's not there, and you see Italo taking advantage of smaller inside waves and doing big airs on them, there is an energy or a feeling of just like, is the world title going to get reduced down to Italo doing airs at Cloudbreak? And even though they're
on the inside section,
even though they're incredible,
they are incredible.
I'm like, he launched so freaking high and landed the thing so smooth. So he deserves to win, but it is a shame if this gets reduced down to this.
This was my criticism of restaurants. We were going to see all surfers get tubes, and then it was going to come down to who boosted this thing at the end of the wave. And we, unfortunately, because of the lack of swell, we sort of saw that play out at Cloudbreak, at least in the first heat.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Jack Robinson's mojo, or whatever he had in Tahiti, it was interesting to see it completely dismantled, because he was, flappable, basically.
Well, look, here's the thing. Jack was like, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to sit out the back, and I'm going to wait for the 8-footer. Well, it was 3 to 5 feet.
Yeah.
And so because of that, because no waves, no swell came to Jack, he started to get that vision in his eye of that freaky floater thing, because on the inside, Italo was going to town. But even so, I don't think that his like Zen quality broke down. I think he just kept it, at least at the beginning of the heat, and just it wasn't 8 feet. And he, there's no way you're gonna, beat Italo at a left when it's 3 foot.
I feel like I was anticipating. I was curious if the 8-footer came, if he would still have his composure to do what he normally does on an 8-footer, because I do think he got mentally rattled. I don't think he maintained the same aura that he had in Tahiti, because even the smaller waves that he ended up taking off on, he fell.
Yeah.
Like I think the commentator said at one point, that's 5 waves that Jack has surfed, and he fell 5 times.
I think by that time he was rattled. The first wave he caught, he surfed well. I think he got like a 5.6 or something. Yeah. And you're like, okay, now he's going to go out. He's doing exactly what he wanted to do strategy-wise. He's got a good wave. He's going to get another one. He's sitting and waiting for another one. Well, in the right away, Italo caught like 3 waves and just was like, had him almost comboed, I think, maybe 10 minutes into the heat.
Yeah.
Now wipe away the entire strategy. Jack is definitely rattled, and it showed on those remaining waves that he attempted.
Later, Daryl. Safe travels, man.
Thank you.
Well, I saw Jack looking back and watching Italo, and that to me was like, he wouldn't have been doing that in Tahiti. He was looking back to see what Italo was doing, and it doesn't matter what Italo's doing. You stick to your strategy, because in Tahiti, he didn't care, So I think something did shift for Jack in this event, unfortunately.
It did. I totally agree with you. It was interesting to see it kind of dismantle in front of us, right? Yeah. But the first exchange, everything was going fine for Jack. It just ended when Italo did Italo things.
So the reason that we love Cloudbreak or want to see waves of consequence is what happened in the next men's matchup, which was Italo versus Griff, because Italo came into that with the exact same strategy, which is stay busy, do crazy tricks, doesn't matter what the size of the wave is, and I'm going to plow through the field, because he's able to do that at lowers. The difference is when the waves are double, when there's a wave out back that's double the size, all Griff has to do is 3 solid turns, and those 3 solid turns at Cloudbreak are gnarlier than anything you could do on a 3-foot wave. So that's something where the venue creates a separation based on the quality of the wave that you're on. Because like I said, at lowers, you can catch any wave and do something, and it's kind of negligible what's different between that and the set wave.
Yeah.
Out there, it was he stuck to his game plan, but all Griff had to do was do the opposite, which is what Jack was trying to do. Jack just never got the opportunity.
Right. So the swell did start to show up
Yes.
a little bit in this next men's heat. And so that Jack strategy, or in this case, that Griff strategy, played out well.
Yeah. What Italo did so successfully was basically nullified simply by a 6-foot face.
Yeah.
And Griff being on it.
Exactly why we were screaming for Cloudbreak to be the event venue and not restaurants, because
Yeah.
Like we mentioned. Well, I have here in my notes that in some ways Griff and Carolyn Marks are sort of mirror images of each other through this event, at least early on in the early rounds. Because I just felt like I'm seeing veterans do solid surfing, and they're coming up against others that obviously Italo's a veteran, but it just, especially on the women's side, Katie Simmers, it's funny, Katie Simmers, I thought surfed really well in the beginnings of her waves. Her first couple of turns were pretty smooth and buttery, and her style was insane. And she had a hard time kind of like finishing rides as she was coming into the shallow shish kebab section. She looked flustered at the end of the rides, is the sense that I got. Whereas Carolyn was just like kicking out, you know?
Well, I had an interesting thought. Well, I'm not going to call my own thoughts interesting, I guess, but
Please.
First time I've had this thought in a long time was, usually, hate to say it, but the women will surf, and then the men's heat comes up next, and there's just a clear separation of surfing ability. This was the opposite. I watched Jack Robinson's heat, and the very next wave surfed was Caitlin Simmers, I'm like, that one wave Caitlin surfed would have smoked Jack Robinson, actually, which is kind of an interesting note.
That's a good way to look at it. And wow, what about her style? I was watching her surf, and for the first time, like, sincerely, I was like, she's surfing better than the guys.
She was literally, her first wave, one wave score, would have beat Jack Robinson's heat total.
And I mean, wipe away the points just on a visual test.
Yeah.
You know, like her style on the wave face looked really buttery.
But despite that, Caroline took that heat too. I thought, so even though I said Caroline kind of safety surfed in that first heat just to get through, throughout the course of the day, that is the best surfing I've ever seen Caroline Marks do. She was on a different level than I've ever seen her before. She looks somehow like leaner physically, but more sparky and powerful. She's always had power, but she somehow looks more sparky and powerful than she ever has before. I thought she looked incredible.
I mean, let's be clear. She marched through the field.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And it was just, to me, it was like a veteran who surfed out there many times, who was just doing really great top turns and finishing off waves. And, you know, like she looked like on a different level. That's the vibe I was getting.
And she took down Molly Picklum in the first match, which was kind of surprising to see. But of course, Molly came back in the second match and then got an incredible tube ride, which was a difference.
Well,
and what we expected of Molly, actually.
I mean, Molly scorched the final two heats. Like, she absolutely, her wave score was insane. Try as I might to sort of brush off Molly Picklum, and I'm not trying, it just kind of happens. Like, I just kind of don't think about her. She's not in my mind's eye the way that for sure Caitlin and Aaron Brooks are, as far as, you know, this is the next thing in women's surfing. I can no longer, and you spoke about this last time, you're like, Scott, we've been sort of forgetting about Molly Picklum. And why is that? First of all, let's excavate why that is. Is it because we have
I think we have
North America's bias?
We do have North American bias, but then beyond that, I can attribute it to there's no point of difference in her surfing. She's very well-rounded, but there isn't something that stands out that you can like really, when I think about who my favorite surfers were, there was one glaring like thing that they're better at than anybody else. And she's just kind of the most well-rounded of them all.
I can, you know, this is more an indictment of me than anything else, but if you brought her in here with a group of other girls in a lineup, I'm not sure I could pick out Molly Picklum.
I could now. A year ago, I probably couldn't.
But she cemented herself as a champion's champion. There is, to be down a heat, after watching Caroline Marks march through the field and then beat you, and to know that you have to go out and win two heats, and then for her to go out and surf the way she did. I mean, her wave scores in those next two heats were magnificent. You know, they were high.
Yeah.
She's, you know, oh, and by the way, somebody pointed out to me, I think she was 20,000 points ahead of Caroline Marks in the point totals going into that heat, which to me, and to you, I believe, if Caroline Marks would have won, we all would have said, see, this is why the Final Five's no good.
Yeah.
Right? And so it was fitting. Frankly, it was fitting that both Yago and the other number one, Molly, became our champions.
Totally
because,
agree.
Especially as we end this thing known as the Final Five.
Totally agree.
So there's that, right?
Congratulations to Molly Picklum. We officially have egg on our face. Fall on our sword.
If I can pick her out of a lineup, I'm pretty sure I could. Actually, she's blonde.
We're gonna do a flashcard game later today, Scott and I, where I'm gonna force him to learn who Molly Picklum is.
Yeah, I know she's from the Central Coast. She's got an Aussie accent.
You know what? Follow her on Instagram.
I will.
Then you'll get familiarity.
And God bless her. I'm happy for Molly and for Yago. Let's quickly talk about Jordy Smith. Obviously the oldest surfer on tour. This heat that he surfed against Griff, to me, it was like a metaphor for his entire career. You know, we've got everybody in our little scene here at Chicama was rooting for Jordy, just like early in his career. Everyone saw a world championship in his future. This was the best surfer on tour. He was a clear favorite in our hearts, but he sort of faded early. And he faded early in that heat, too. And he was out of rhythm. Then Jordy Smith gets us all extremely excited with this 8.6 femur busting, ACL tearing free fall from the roof of a Cloudbreak tube. The Jordy energy was back. Our entire restaurant screamed, there was big energy in here. And then his last wave, sort of gutless. It didn't really provide. It left us wanting, which is sort of how I feel is a metaphor for his career wrapped up in that one final heat.
Wow. What a bummer. I didn't think about the metaphor, but I'm thinking about it now, and it makes me sad.
Is this a swan song? Will we see Jordy on tour next year?
I mean, that's ultimately the question. I do not think this is his swan song. I think he will absolutely be back next year. I don't think you get that close and then quit.
If we continue with the metaphor, could you say that the lack of swell is also a metaphor for the damage that the WSL formats have done to Jordy's chances?
No. I think the WSL formats have certainly benefited somebody like Felipe Toledo, but I don't think it's necessarily prevented
like
Jordy
Kelly
from...
Slater's wave pool? Jordy's vocal about a horrible stop on tour.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that venue, I suppose, is more problematic for Jordy than the WSL formatting itself. But Jordy should have been able to win under kind of any other conditions other than maybe the wave pool. And so the fact that he hasn't won yet is more a reflection of him not being able to be consistent through a season than anything else. And he wasn't consistent in that heat, to your point.
He had a great season this year. I think he won more events in one season than he's ever done, right? Didn't he win 2 events? El Salvador and...
Yeah, I forget which 2. You're right. El Salvador and something else. But to that point, he will be back next year. I just don't see him...
I think he deserves for himself to be back. He owes it to himself, I guess I should say, because we're going to have this new format. He's going to be able to, you can't leave now and sort of point to the format and go, this is the reason why. He's going to have a chance to end it at Pipe where there's going to be extra points awarded in that particular event. It's going to be good.
Do you feel like he put in a world champ performance in that heat?
No, and I kind of half blame. I mean, he put on a Jordy performance. He got us excited and then he let us down.
That's the thing. He put on a Jordy performance.
It is a metaphor for his career in some ways.
It really is. It's it's really, really disheartening, actually.
Well, Yago, I almost feel like there's nothing to talk about. Yago just out-Yagoed everyone. I'm going to make it a verb. He Yagoed them.
Well, we could talk about Griff leading up to Yago then. Because Griff surfs, he was surfing.
All hail Griff.
He was surfing flawlessly.
He was surfing incredible.
And, high energy throughout every heat.
Except he ran out of energy, don't you think? Look at the paddle battle. Yago passed him in a paddle battle during the finals.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Oh, it was really the best part of the heat.
Okay.
They got in. They kicked out. Griff was ahead of him. Yago just went, watch this. I haven't surfed any heats. I've been sitting in a boat all day. He just powered past Griff and got priority.
Was that a deciding factor in the heat?
I mean, I don't know specifically what that next wave meant to Yago, his priority wave. But what it did is it made you realize Griff's been brilliant up to this point, but I think a fresh Griff isn't going to let Yago beat him in a paddle battle that he's already leading. And so what does that do to your mental state when the guy just, and I know because I've been in those situations where guys have paddle battled me and got me and you're like, okay, maybe I'm done.
Yeah, Griff, I'd be surprised. I mean, you witnessed it. I didn't, so I guess it is what it is. I think Griff is conditioned well enough to put in, a 6-hour day at Cloudbreak.
Yeah, but against a guy who has 15 minutes in the water and he's got 6 hours in the water.
Yeah.
And it looked like towards the end, Griff was kind of
lost his spark,
losing some legs a little bit.
Well, his surfing up until that point was really, really impressive and flawless. And him, it wasn't proper barreling, but there were hollow sections and him going vert into them and then transitioning out and landing those turns was insane. And so I thought Griff if Griff wins today, he has earned it and it'll be kind of impressive. But he certainly did come up against Yago. Talking about did Jordy put in a world title performance yesterday? The answer was no. I feel like Yago absolutely did.
And I feel like Griff did, even though he didn't win.
Yeah,
like Griff, to me, there was a sense of destiny too. When I was watching him throughout the day, I was like, this is redemption for lowers. This feels like it was meant to be. Like, and he was just spot on. And it was easy to root for Griffin Colapinto. I mean, he just looked the part.
Well, I was saying last week that I just kind of overlook Yago all the time. And I've got to say, yesterday, it was easy to root for him as well. Seeing him stand up on his first wave and surf it the way he did, I was like, incredible. Like, power. That wave is powerful. He's matching it with power. He's going straight into like the most critical section of the wave, doing a big wrapping turn. It was like, and then straight into a transition, slamming the end section. It's like, that's
his first wave. You just went, wow.
Wow.
Because he did a massive turn and quickly transitioned into a closeout Rio that was like a wow moment. I think he got, I want to say he got an 8.6 or something. Like, he got a high score on just 2 turns. And a couple of his top turns later in the heat were full rail down carves at like really vertical, where you could see he was like kind of on his tippy toes towards the end of the turn. Yago just out-Yagoed Griff. Like, Yago just looked fresh because he was fresh. Like, it's kind of a format thing.
Totally. But huge fan of his surfing. I apologize for overlooking him and denying him. He earned the number 1 spot going into this event, and then he proved why he had it in this event.
Well, if you go back to one of our podcasts from January, it'll be clear that I chose Molly Picklum and Yago Dora to win the world title this year. And, you know.
Let me go back and check the tape. I definitely don't remember that. I remember you claiming Kanoa was going to win. No,
that was a couple of years ago. Come on. I definitely wasn't claiming Kanoa this year.
You were claiming Kanoa and Kelly Slater.
Kelly to win the women's division? Oh, Lordy. Well.
Exciting day.
Yeah,
in the end.
What's funny, right, coming up competitively is we've got QS stuff that's going to happen in soon, but the Hawaii version of it, I think, starts, I don't know exactly, but I know there's a pipe event. There might be 2 pipe events that are, one's a Challenger Series and one's a, I don't know what they call it, QS or something, but we got that to look forward to prior to this season starting up again.
How do you feel about Yago for next year?
I mean, he's going to be the guy to beat, right?
With a finals
back
at Pipe
to back.
And a finals at Pipe too, like the final event of the season will be Pipe. So
I could see him doing that. He doesn't have, you don't sense that he's going to like go to a discotheque in Brazil and wear gold chains and find a new wife and have some perfume commercial. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be focused, is my point.
Is that a Gabriel Medina reference?
It's an Italo Gabe combo. Like, I sense that he's on the beam. I sense that Yago's on the beam. Like, he's got good headspace.
Yeah.
You know?
His dad is his coach, which is always an interesting dynamic. But it obviously seems to be working for them. I don't know if you were aware, but Leandro Dor was also coaching Jack Robinson throughout the season up until this event.
Oh.
Knowing that they'd be, competitors, he just
had to choose.
What's that?
He had to choose.
Yeah, he chose his kid.
He could have flipped a coin.
But I think that combo is a solid combo that can keep him out of the discotheque that you're talking about.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. The headspace is good. You know what? We got to take a quick break. We're going to come right back. And we might be finished with WSL talk. I don't know.
Sure.
But we'll do a Who Said That. I have a sort of lengthy Who Said That.
Okay. I'm ready for it.
Welcome back to Spit. David Lee Scales, Scott Bass with you. I did eventually, a couple days ago, find my mojo with the toe strap. So I've been able to toe up on foil. I know everybody was on pins and needles wondering about that news. and
It is news to me. We didn't catch up about that.
And we'll move on.
Well, let's do a quick update on the trip.
Yeah.
You just said you're feeling pretty tore up.
I'm beat up, yeah. I was beat up sort of before I came.
Oh, okay.
And, I've got old man moans and groans, aches and pains.
What do you do for recovery?
A lot of stretching. The hot tub is great. The steam rooms, the saunas are great. And it's about stretching.
So when you implement all those things, how many hours can you spend in the water?
Hour and a half.
Wow. Diminishing returns, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm 60 years old, dude. It's kind of gnarly to think about. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm, my headspace is 30, but my body's 60.
Yeah.
But and that's fine. I'm not disappointed. It is what it is. It's life. I'm okay with it all. Like an hour and a half, I'm satiated. I've caught a lot of waves. I got a great workout. It's kind of like a workout. Like, how long do you work out every day? Do you work out for an hour and a half? Yeah, that's about it. You don't work out for 5 hours.
Not at 60.
No.
Well, you made the right call to not join us yesterday on our mission to Pacasmayo. Did you talk to anybody about that?
No.
Get the update? So obviously we're staying at Chicama, but there's a wave about an hour away in the van called Pacasmayo, which is it's just more like, it stands up a little bit more. I guess it gets hollow at times, but it's more punchy. Chicama is kind of just a softer wave. So, and Pacasmayo gets more swell. So if it's small here, it'll be overhead there, basically. So we knew yesterday was forecasted to be small here, so we organized a van to pick us up at 6:30 in the morning and do the drive out there. And we showed up. Scott opted not to come because he was feeling beat up. And 6:30 is an early call time. We got out there. It looked like junk. I was like, dang it. Like, we're committed. We did the drive. We're going to have to paddle out, but like, this is not as good as Chicama, basically. And it was a little bit windy. It came together through the course of the day. We were there until about noon, so we were there maybe 4 hours. But it's basically, it is a point break, but it's not nearly as well defined. And it's just lumps of water. You kind of take off on a lump and hope that it connects through to find the reef and then it has a line on it, but you can't really read that from the takeoff. So you just take off on whatever lump comes your way and hope that it connects. But if it doesn't, you're kind of pushed far in and there's a lot of water moving, and so it's just a hassle. It's a lot of paddling to get back into the lineup. So you made the right call in terms of your body's not in peak condition, and it was a lot of work to get in the right spot and get the right wave. But despite that, Daryl said he got the 2 best waves of his trip, so better than anything that he got at Chicama. And Mike also said that he got the best wave of his trip.
Oh, good.
It was one of those scenarios, though, where like we're sitting in the van and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know where to sit. Like, I haven't seen a wave out there that I want. I don't know where to sit, but everybody's suiting up, so I'm going to paddle out. And then I paddle out, and as a result, while I was out there, I didn't see the wave that I wanted. I didn't know where to sit while I was out there, I got waves that I just kind of like nursed, hoping they would connect, and they never really did. Yeah. And then, it was a bit of a letdown for me, for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, that happens, right? Certain missions don't really come together, and it was fun out here yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And we were all gone, so
Yeah.
you got a lot less crowd to deal with out here.
What I was thinking about during the break was, did you feel like Jack Robinson's board sort of held him up a little bit? Like he kind of got stuck on a couple of turns?
He did. I didn't blame his boards for that.
Okay, fair enough.
I thought that was a headspace thing.
Okay. Let's go into who said that, all right?
I'm curious.
Okay, so this who said that, this is a section of the show where David and Scott try to stump each other. I'm going to try to stump David. I'm going to give you a 3 or 4 paragraph quote, a little bit longer one than normal. And it's from Rabbit Bartholomew. Okay. This is Rabbit Bartholomew talking. And I want you to guess who he's talking about. Okay? So here we go. And I'm quoting Rabbit Bartholomew. 2 months later, I was staying in a house behind the sand dunes at Hossegor. And I had noticed a sand spit out front, but no swell. One evening, there was a knock on the door. It was Surfer X. He had flown solo to Paris, caught a train to Bayonne, then somehow made it to my doorstep and asked if he could stay. At dawn the next morning, he woke me up with a whisper. I could feel the crisp offshore, and right in front of the house, over the sand dune, was a 6-foot barreling perfection and a perfect tide. What ensued was a most amazing session, just the two of us, with Surfer X once again looking at me at my barrel style. I, however, was also checking out his, and wow, the kid had a really cool tube riding technique. He was incredibly gifted, and only 16. For the next 10 days, we surfed together, and on the last day, our final surf, because I was leaving for the U.S. Pro the next day, Surfer X suggested we swap boards. I was one of the last holdouts on the single fin. Simon Anderson had introduced the thruster, and MR and Dane Kealoha were ruling on twin fins. Surfer X's twin fin was quite fun, and after the session, he told me to take his board to Malibu. I was reluctant, but he convinced me. Bear with me here, I just lost my place.
I love the story so far.
My computer turned off.
Oh, I hate that.
Okay. Again, Surfer X's twin fin was fun, and after the session, he told me to take his board to Malibu to the U.S. Pro. I was reluctant, but he convinced me. It was a kind gesture. I landed, drove straight to Huntington Beach, and asked my pal Bob Hurley to make me something similar, only wider, a tad more volume, and slightly bigger fins. He asked when I needed it, and I told him my heat was the next day. So Bob shaped up this beauty. My best mate, Mike Heyer, glassed it overnight, and I won my heat. End quote. So, David, who is Surfer X that visited Rabbit Bartholomew in France? Was it 1, Martin Potter, 2, Tom Curran, 3, Derek Ho, or 4, David Eggers?
Wow, interesting. I'm going to go Potter.
Good choice, but the wrong one, David. That was Tom Curran.
What?
Tom Curran flew solo to Paris and knocked on Rabbit's door, and they surfed together and traded boards. And then Rabbit had Bob make him a similar board overnight and won his heat at the U.S. Pro. That quote goes on. Rabbit wrote me a long letter about this board. This board is going to be in the California Gold Surf Auction. Rabbit's son, or one of his, I think his son, has some health issues. I don't know if is it Jaeger? Jagger?
I thought, yeah, Jagger.
Anyway, we're trying to raise some money for his health situation. So Rabbit is generously offering up this board at auction. This is a really cool board. It's got a lot more history than what I just told you.
Is it an Almeric?
No, it's a Bob Hurley.
Oh, the Bob Hurley. Gotcha.
It's a Bob Hurley shaped twin fin.
I was thinking the board that Tom Curran gave him. But
1981.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun. And
fascinating.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you would figure it was Tom. I thought maybe
the
Martin makes sense. Martin Potter makes sense.
The France connection makes sense.
Yeah.
I just didn't, I don't know why. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So we're excited about that. Oh, by the way, any other thoughts on that story, by the way? Before
Other than what a time to be in France with nobody else around. And
have you been to France?
I love France.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. Do you speak French?
No.
What part of France did you go to?
I've been to various parts of France. I've been to France a few times.
Okay.
Been all over.
Okay.
But I
all of France.
I have been to Hossegor and.
What about Brest?
What's Brest?
Brest is a region in northern France, like up by the Bay of Biscay.
I have not been to Brest.
No. Okay. Only 2 tickets remain for the Eric Arakawa VIP dinner. Intimate dinner with 8 people, 3-course meal, produced by chefs Aaron and Pam Schwartz, and your chance to have dinner with Eric Arakawa. And of course, you're going to get the first round board that's going to be shaped by the 8 shapers in the Icons of Foam Shape-Off presented by US Blanks. So 2 tickets remain. Don't miss your chance to have an intimate dinner.
Absolutely, yeah. Maybe less than 2 tickets after this morning. I know some people expressed some interest.
Oh, cool.
But 2 for now.
Yeah, 2 for now. We'll see what happens.
2 for now. Very good.
All right.
Well, you got anything else?
No, we did pretty much a sort of, how would you describe it? Last minute podcast here this morning because we wanted to catch up on what happened yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, the WSL Finals Day just ended. So my must-see moment presented by Treeswax is Dick Brewer's documentary is now available on Amazon Prime.
Oh, I'm so stoked to hear that.
The Shape of Things is what it's called.
I want to see that. I've been wanting to see that. I've been reaching out to Bob Campy, who made it.
Yep.
And Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
You got to watch this movie. This is an incredible movie from what I'm told. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet.
I've heard it's really, really good. So I'm looking forward to it.
No, I know. I've been anticipating it for a long time.
Me too.
And I know people have been curious. So that is your opportunity to go grab it now.
Yeah, deep dive into Brewer. Probably not just, topical, Brewer made great boards type of stuff. You're going to get some more information, some powerful information, I think, about Dick Brewer.
Well, I'll offer you a tangential note, what I learned in surf history this week.
Yeah.
As it relates to surfboards. Interviewing Joey Cabell, there's a board that he's kind of famous for called the White Ghost.
Yes.
So I didn't know this. He brought Brewer over to Kauai for the first time. So Brewer lived on Kauai, is kind of known for that, but his first trip there was because Cabell. So Cabell had bought property there in the early 60s. He had been surfing Hanalei, and the boards that he had been riding were just not allowing him to really be in the right position on the wave at all times. And so he had Cabell said he only shaped about 15 boards in his life, so he wouldn't call himself a shaper, but he was shaping. And this White Ghost was specifically designed for Hanalei, because it's like big open faces to where you can do turns, but you want to be able to adjust and be in the pocket to ride the barrel as well. So it was a single fin, but it was a pointy-nosed 8.6 with a lot of rocker. And I've seen footage of him riding it where he's even like nose riding it basically. So again, coming out of the longboard era where nose riding is part of it, once you started shrinking boards down, guys were still trying to do some nose riding, even though, so it's interesting to see the kind of in-between moments where he is doing turns on the board, but then he runs up to the nose. But you needed to, because there's these fast sections that you could actually nose ride through. But Brewer was with him, so he was like riding that board, bringing it in, making adjustments to it, and he and Brewer were having those discussions. And those were really seedlings of design concepts that would really become the shortboard revolution in those moments on that board, on that wave.
Yeah.
And I was like, so, you were influencing Brewer's kind of design thoughts? And he's like, I wouldn't go that far. He's like, we definitely were having conversations, and I was riding the board and making adjustments, for it and feeling the benefits of those adjustments. But Brewer certainly had his own ideas and
but
stuff.
there was meaningful discourse between
Absolutely.
the two, and it was important. And just like anytime you're talking to anyone, you're picking up insights and potentially using them, later on down the line.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a fact. And then you see images of that White Ghost, and it's like so crude. It's incredible that that was, they were advancing.
Cutting edge.
It was cutting edge, and they were advancing things, but my God, it was crude. It looks so difficult to ride.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Absolutely.
Where is that board?
He has it at his house in Hawaii, hanging on the wall.
Rad.
And I found an image from an old surfer magazine of him riding it at Cannons in Kauai, which is such a gnarly wave. And him riding that board at that wave is gnarly, and he's doing a bottom turn up to a lip on a gnarly section. You're just like, these guys are so gnarly. That would be a gnarly wave turn to do on that wave on a short board.
No leash.
And he's doing it on a 8.6 single fin.
Yeah.
White, like crazy. Those guys are really gnarly back then.
Yeah. Pioneers.
So, anyways, do your Brewer history. Must-see moment presented by Treeswax, by the way. Petroleum-free surf wax. Get 20% off by going through treeswax.com. Promo code SPIT. And money-back guarantee if you buy online.
By the way, we've in the auction, California Gold Surf Auction, we have a brewer-shaped Hobie gun from Hawaii, Hawaiian gun, a brewer-shaped Bing pipeliner, a couple of other brewers as well, as I think through my Rolodex here, yeah.
Here's another note, what I learned in surf history this week from Joey Cabell. The very first polyurethane blank that Gordon Clark and Hobie Alter made and then shaped into a surfboard, Joey Cabell was the test pilot.
Rad. That's cool.
So he grew up riding redwood, solid redwood.
Yeah, heavy.
Transitioned into balsa. And then when polyurethane came along, he was the very first test pilot.
How stoked would you be? You know how stoked you are coming off of wood, going on just how light those things were, just carrying them down to the beach. Balsa was pretty light. Balsa boards, a 10-foot balsa board, you know, you're looking at 25 pounds, you know?
Yeah.
Which is way lighter than 100-pound redwood, or probably 70-pound redwood.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
But I asked him, I was like, because I wanted to know that exact thing, like, what was that like? I mean, how revolutionary was it? He's like, yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, yeah, you know, it was going to change everything. We knew it at the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, tell me about your first polyurethane board. And he's like, yeah, it was good. I liked it. I think it was a longboard. I'm like, no, Joey, to be clear, I heard you had the very first one from Clark and Hobie. He goes, yeah, that's right. I'm like, go ahead and mention it, dude. Like, go ahead, like, tell me. You know?
Who told you that, Mets?
I read it in an interview somewhere.
That's
but
cool.
It was like, to him, he's just done so many cool things. It was like kind of like, oh yeah, that's also true, but it's like not the most important detail in my life. I'm like, no, that's like a important bit of surf history that we want to cement. Can you confirm? Yeah, I can confirm.
Did I tell you that we have, I think I told you we have Tommy Zahn's board. Did we talk about that?
No.
Tommy Zahn's paddleboard?
No.
So we've got Tommy Zahn's paddleboard in the California Gold Surf Auction, right? And Tommy Zahn, I feel like we talked about this. We didn't talk about this?
Look,
Jerry Lopez?
I forget what we talk about sometimes. We talk so much.
Anyway, Tommy Zahn, Jerry Lopez once said that Tommy Zahn is the greatest surfer ever, or maybe it's the coolest surfer ever, because he dated Marilyn Monroe. Tommy Zahn dated Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
And he also dated Darylyn Zanuck, because Malibu was the hub of the whole scene.
Yeah.
All the Hollywood, daughters of the Hollywood moguls were down there. So that's kind of cool. We got Tommy Zahn's paddleboard, which is like incredible board. It's probably the star of the show.
Really?
So much Tommy Zahn's so much history. You know, before there was Tom Curran, there was Tom Zahn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Anyway.
Well, let's give Waterways, this is another successful trip, of course, made successful because of Waterways. This, and the other note I keep getting from people is how affordable it is.
Yeah.
They're like, basically it comes to $200 a day, and there's that's room and board and boats, all day long boat service, taking us back and forth, catching waves. And the 3 meals a day, it's like appetizer, entree, dessert, like, and each even the appetizer is big enough just to make a meal out of. People are psyched on the food.
The food's incredible. The portions are huge. And the dessert.
And the massage.
And the
it's
massage.
Like, the price is unbelievable.
It is.
And the accommodation's well worth it for that price alone.
You know, when I'm at home, I'll DoorDash like tacos. It'll be like $70.
I know. I don't DoorDash for that exact reason.
Holy mackerel.
But yeah, it's an unbelievable deal. And again, the boat service is just incredible.
Yeah.
The boat drivers are amazing, by the way.
I know. My hat's off to my boat driver, Delmer, who finally got me up on foil using the tow rope, which I was struggling with. You know what's funny? I had basically given up. I'm like, you know what? I tried to get up on foil using the tow rope. Maybe towing up into waves isn't for me. I had let go of it. And I'm out there paddle foiling, just prone foiling like I always do. And Dilmer pulls up in the boat. He's like, let's go. He's super stoked, super fired up. He's like, I tow you. And I'm like, I don't do that. I tried. I can't do it. It's not for me. I guess it wasn't meant to be. He's like, no, let's go. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it just because she's like basically forcing me to try one more time. But the point is that I had let go of it. I had no longer any expectations. And as soon as I let go of it, I think part of it, obviously Delmer was a big part of helping me learn how to do it, but I didn't really care anymore. And because I didn't care, I just did it right away. Like, oh, here I go, you know? Kind of interesting.
Yeah, good on him for forcing that to happen. Yeah, he's a killer driver. He's got the most Peruvian face I've ever seen. Yeah. And then he wears a helmet. He looks like a Peruvian warrior. He's doing battle with the waves.
Bash in your head with something.
Totally. But he's battling the waves. But it's in his DNA to be a
super
warrior.
Cool guy too, man. What a
coolest.
Great guy.
So what's next for our next year is what I wanted to ask you. Waterways, we did El Salvador 2 years in a row. Now we've done Chicama. Maybe we do Chicama again next year, but where else should we go? Yeah,
Chicama should definitely be on the list because it's such a bucket list spot for goofyfoots. It's a really, you got to come here and ride the length of ride is incredible. And I would suggest, I think the board of choice here is a mid-length, believe it or not, because I'll just leave it there.
I agree.
Now, where else should we go? I would love to see us go to Costa Rica. That would be my next thing, but not crowded Costa Rica, like down south Costa Rica, like Monopolo area.
Well, a number of people on this trip have been asking because they are eager to sign up, and the more time we give them, the better chances they have of talking their wives into it. The constraints that we're operating under are we don't know who's going to sign up for the trip, or I should say, we don't know the surfing prowess or ability level of the people signing up for the trip. So you can't go somewhere where the waves are only barreling hollow reef passes. You got to go somewhere that's kind of more user-friendly, where there's an option for a beginner wave and an option for an intermediate wave. So that's limited our location choices up until this point. Costa Rica fits that bill. A little something for everybody. It's an easy flight from the U.S. So we could look into Costa Rica for sure. And then I was thinking also we could do a little bit more intermediate trip and just advertise it as such. Just be like, hey, we're going to go to Samoa, Salani Surf Camp. Waves are good and dangerous. There's shallow reef basically, but it's intermediate. If you feel like you're up to it, feel free to sign up, and it's kind of on you at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be a very interesting one.
Yeah. Okay. We'll figure it out. We'll talk to the boys. Brian from Waterways is here on this trip, and it's great to have him along for the ride. So he can advise.
Yeah. Well, it really is. I mean, a successful trip. We leave tomorrow, and I'm satiated. I've caught so many long waves. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to get a couple more.
Me too.
I'm satiated, but I'm going to get a couple more.
Yeah, I'm not that satiated. All right, David. Well, look, until next time, adios and aloha.